Executive Secretary, on behalf of the government and the good people of the great state of Bayelsa, we thank you and appreciate you, and we bring greetings and warm felicitations to the government and the good people of the great state of Bayelsa. We also want to thank you for the great work that you and your team are doing in service of our nation and our world. I would like to observe that knowing you as closely as I have done, and now having interacted with Professor Okoji, and also knowing that Professor Okebukola was here, looking at the three of you, I think we must congratulate ourselves in this country. I want to congratulate the leaders of this country successively who appointed all three of you. And I can see why tertiary education is beginning to turn around for good in our country. So I want to also use this opportunity not only to appreciate the great work that you and your team are doing, but also to acknowledge the sacrifices and the contributions of your very worthy predecessors in office. Here today, you are receiving the delegation of the government of Bayelsa State, and we are here to discuss with you, to work with you, to solicit your expert advice, your experience, and enjoy the benefit of your experience, and your help also. And you have never withheld your advice, you have never withheld anyone, we inclusive, from benefiting from your very broad and deep experience. In Bayelsa, furthering the cause of education is one of the most important programs of our restoration government. Not only did we declare an emergency in education, 2012 when we took over, from then on we matched words with action, made critical investments at all levels of education, primary school education, building schools and staff quarters, teachers' quarters, built in all the remote communities for the first time, to make life and learning and teaching easier, even at that level. Then we proceeded to the secondary level. When we took over in 2012, Prof, there was not even a single boarding school in the state of Bayelsa. Not even a single boarding school in the state of Bayelsa. And so we started building schools. And we listened to various experts and looked at different models. And Prof, we saw the connection, direct connection, between criminality, militancy, unemployment, unemployability, and all forms of social crisis, direct connection with insufficient investment over the years in education in our state. And so from then on, there has been no turning back in spite of the recession, in spite of competing demands. Funding education has been the single most important priority of my government in the past 7 years. And we made it clear everywhere, and let me also say what I've been saying everywhere, that if we don't invest in education, if we don't build schools, then we should be prepared to build more prisons and more cemeteries. Yes. Those are the choices. Either you invest in education, or You neglect that, but then you've got to build more prisons because you surely will need them. And also get ready to prepare more cemeteries. So even children you have sent abroad will get killed by those you have failed to educate. So, Prof, now beginning from a state where we had no boarding school, we now have 15 model boarding schools. 15 model boarding schools spread across the local government areas. Right now, there's another ambitious initiative going on by making these boarding schools even closer to the people themselves. So we are building 25 constituency boarding schools. After building the physical infrastructure, we now rolled out one of the most revolutionary educational interventions. Our founding fathers recognized it and they used to do it when they went from community to community selecting people and taking them away from their homes, their parents, and putting them in government-funded schools. But we stopped doing that. The crisis in education that I met in Bayelsa was such that I had to go back to that model. In Bayelsa, we have a law signed by me that compels children to be in school within the school ages, that stipulates penalty for parents and guardians whose children and wards do not stay in schools. And Prof, knowing that if we didn't make the quality boarding schools free and compulsory, still people will not take advantage of that. So we opened all these boarding schools I've talked about, all the 15 of them, to everybody, all the poor people, everybody. The best every year, the best set of boys and girls in every class, class 6, primary 6, are selected, thousands of them, and they take a competitive exam. They are selected on the recommendation of the headmasters. And the best amongst them, all the local governments selected. And they qualify at that level, and then we spread them to all the boarding schools. Right now we have over 10,000. So I will call it a revolution going on in Bayelsa, a silent revolution. And all these 10,000 students taken from their parents, some of them have not even traveled out of they have not left their communities. A number of them have not eaten egg in their life before. Prof, sometimes when the school is on vacation, these children cry. They don't want to go back to their homes. They want to stay in the schools. And now, in that situation, we feed them 3 times a day. They are government scholars. Over 10,000 of them, spread in all these schools. 10,000. Their uniforms are provided by the state. All the books and computers are provided by the state. The laboratories, everything equipped in those schools. And already, Prof, yes, painful investment, takes a lot of resources and time. Already my state is beginning to witness a positive turnaround. 2012, our ranking in most national exams was about 27 out of 36 states and FCT. Now, guess what? In the last 2-3 years, the results have been between 3rd position, 4th position in this country, 5th position in this country. That's where we are. And we pay for WAEC and NECO for all our students. I just signed the last memo yesterday approving the WAEC payment for all the students in our model boarding schools. Now, we've backed it up with a lot of initiatives, policies, and legislations in order to guarantee continuity even beyond my administration. So, Prof, we have a law creating or establishing the Education Development Trust Fund in the states. And I think we are one of the few states that have that. Maybe the only state. That's what my commissioner is telling me. But I know by that, everybody who earns any amount, anybody who is paid from the public treasury in the state, contributes a percentage. I contribute the highest sum, 100,000 naira, from my salary every month. The deputy governor, all the judges, all the assemblymen, everybody by Elsa. And I'm now opening up discussions with the corporate players, principally the oil companies. And I need you and all people of goodwill to help me continue to make that case. We've not seen much of them. And I've set up a body of respected people to manage that fund. No government interference. Professor Titi Ison, one of our elder statesmen, the chairman of that fund, the Bayelsa Education Development Trust Fund. Their job every month is to take the needs from these schools and approve expenditures for their feeding, for all the things that they need in the schools. We have also set up the Technical and Science Education Board, because we also have to look at the future. And we know the role of science, mathematics, what you people call STEM. So we have that board also funded. Now, with this, you see why there is need for more tertiary opportunities in the state. A lot of people ask, why do you need a second university? 2 years ago, I was here interacting with your predecessor, Professor Koji. I answered a lot of questions as to why, with the Niger Delta University, we still needed a second university. And I made a case, and I thank God that the NUC at that time agreed with us, and we received a lot of encouragement. Today, I want to report to you, sir, that the University of Africa, that the NUC approved for us, is going on very well. Foundation very strong, with a number of students from across the length and breadth of our country. And as you remarked a short while ago, we have a lot of international faculty, and many more are coming. I've told everyone I've met that if you know any good academic anywhere in the world, please, we still have vacancy for them. Because as you said, and you are the expert, and we are learning from you and from your colleagues, that a university is nothing unless it is universal in nature. And the University of Africa is meant to be cosmopolitan and universal. And that is already happening. So I want to use this opportunity, sir, to thank you, to thank this commission for the encouragement and the guidance, the support that the state received 2 years ago when we were working to establish the University of Africa. And the funding model, I assured everybody, and it's already paying off. Whereas we used to spend 500 million, close to 500 million, on the Niger Delta University every month, Prof. Every month. And I said that funding model was not sustainable. So thank God for the great work our new VC and the council are doing. and with the positions that the government took after the reforms. Very painful, heavily resisted, but we stuck to our God because that was the right thing to do. The university has been reorganized, and now our monthly funding to the Niger Delta University is about 350 million, even though the Vice Chancellor is asking for more. But he's doing a good job, and he deserves it. But the University of Africa, sir, we're only giving them a grant or a subvention. And from day one, we tasked them to get ready to be self-financing, self-sustaining. And they are going to be very soon the biggest, they are going to have the biggest farms. I've already made that provision to all our universities, including the Niger Delta University. The biggest oil palm that the state had, we gave it to the Niger Delta University. For them to use, to raise money, for their training and all of that. We're doing more for them and also for the University of Africa. So with 75 million, we have a University of Africa going while the government invests in the physical infrastructure. And I can report to you, sir, when you come with your team, you will see things more clearly. With the way we are going from the fees that the students themselves will pay, because it's a fee-paying university. Nigerian universities cannot afford this luxury of being cheaper than our nursery and primary schools. And that's not the fault of the universities, it's the fault of the leadership of our country. We have made university education, which is the most important form of education, we have made it to look and actually appear cheaper than even nursery and primary and even secondary education. And we all have schools. The same people who are complaining that students in universities cannot pay higher fees are the same people who are sending our children, all of us, to private nursery schools, and we are paying 3, 4, 5, 10 times higher. Primary schools, we are paying 3, 4, 5, 10 times higher. Secondary schools, the same. And yet, when it comes to funding universities, we play politics with it. And our universities are dying. So the University of Africa, sir, as you know, is founded on a new model. A model by which a publicly established and founded university is open to private sector initiatives. Private people can come and partner with us, and it has to be fee-paying and open to the most qualified students across the world who can pay fees. We sit down here, we don't pay fees, and all our children are going to Ghana, neighboring countries, and they are paying fees in dollars. University of Africa has been established so that others can come. Let people come to Nigeria for quality education in the University of Africa instead of the other way. Now, Prof, because now the enrollment figures have so increased in our schools, we have to think of a third university. But this time, a specialized university. A medical university, the Bayelsa Medical University. So, Prof, and your team, my delegation and I are here this afternoon not only to thank you for the great work you are doing and the concern and the encouragement we have received from you, but we are also here to use this opportunity to present to you the essential documents concerning the Bayelsa Medical University, whose establishing law was passed and assented to by me, was passed by the Bayelsa House of Assembly and assented to by me. And we are here with a formal request soliciting your expeditious consideration.
Move closer. You have to move closer, sir.
We promise and assure you, sir, that just as we have done in the Niger Delta University, which is also receiving equal support as our premier state university, is not abandoned, as you know. Just as we have done with the University of Africa, we promise you, sir, that the Bayelsa Medical University will in no distant time be known as one of the best medical training institutions, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, to start with. The university, as usual, will be universal. We will recruit, and we have already started the process of engaging staff, faculty, from across this country, from across Africa and the rest of the world. And I want to also put your notice that in no distant time, I will be empaneling an eminent council, an eminent body of persons to constitute the governing council with the requisite experience, international exposure, and skills to guide and support the growth and development of the Bayelsa Medical University. This Bayelsa Medical University is also going to be, sir, a fee-paying university, to be clear about it. Nigerians, our people, are hungry for good quality education. Let's assure them that in this country, without traveling anywhere, without going through hassles of looking for visas, without looking for foreign currency, in this our Nigeria, it is possible to provide quality tertiary facilities with appropriate, experienced faculty, both at home and abroad, that can give quality education to our children. That is the sacrifice we are making in Bayelsa. And once again, I thank you for the work you are doing, and we are here to solicit your partnership and collaboration by expeditiously granting support to this. So I present the law to you, sir.
The analogy somehow rendered in a metaphorical form the options given to us to either invest in education or invest in prisons and cemeteries. I mean, the choices really are not hard to make. If we ignore one, then you can't ignore the other. Your Excellency, I have listened to you, and I have also, in many respects, through eye contact, through body language, through some spiritual bishop, what is it? Yes. I have interacted with my people. And let me very quickly remind us here that before this very moment, we have a total, had a total of 169 universities in Nigeria. 43 of them are owned by the federal government. And the distribution is very simple. Every state in this country has one federal university. That is 36 states. Abuja itself has one. That is 37. There is an open national university in Abuja, but with study centers all over the country. That is university number 38, owned by the federal government. There are two specialized military or security universities, the NDA in Kaduna, which we recognize as a university, but which is more than a university from other eyes. We see it as a university because it uses our curriculum. It is a degree awarding institution, awarding first, second, and third degrees. and we do carry out our quality assurance activities in the university. So it is a university. There is also the police academy in Kano. It's an academy, but it's a university given out. So these two plus the 38 making 40. But in the last 12 months, the 41st university was resuscitated, and that is the Maritime University of Okaron in Delta State. That makes 2 universities federal in Delta, the Petroleum University Efron and the Maritime University of Okaron in Delta State. Then, just a few months ago, the Federal Executive Council approved the establishment of an Army University in Biu. This Army University is not the same as military university, NDA, Defense Academy, because this Army University is conceived to have up to 75% of its enrollment to be from the civilian population, with at any time no more than 25% to come from the military. So it seeks to bring together members of the Nigerian Armed Forces together with civilians to interact in the same classrooms, to find solutions to some of the, because the military has realized, or the army has realized, that modern wars are not just about physical strength, more about the mental strength. And therefore, some of those Nigerians and others who may never ever dream of being enrolled in the military may actually find solutions to some of the most tractable problems of the military, of the army. Somebody may be on a wheelchair, but perhaps God's gift here in his brain, he may help the military to manufacture something or to come up with an idea that may lead to a solution of a problem. So this led the army to conceive of this and the federal government to approve it as a federal university. That is now number 42. So the last one, the 43rd university, actually is a polytechnic university. That is the AFIT, the Air Force Institute of Technology, which is essentially has been running diplomas for long, but whose law was recently signed by Mr. President, granting them powers to award degrees. And we are working with them to see that the university functions more as a polytechnic university. It will not stop running its diplomas, so it will still subscribe to the regulations of the National Board for Technical Education, while the National Universities Commission will now take charge of the degree aspect. So if we see it as a university, which we do, so it's a, the 43rd university in this country. And as of today, we have 47 state-owned universities, universities owned by state governments. Every state in the Federation has at least one university. One. In the north, Kano has 2 universities. And I think that is the only state with more than one university in the north, out of the 19 northern states. In the southwest, Ekiti, I think, has 1. Ondo has 3. And Ogun has 3. Osun and Oyo have 1.5 each. They each have 1 and they jointly own 1, so 1.5 each. And then, of course, Rivers has 2, Bayelsa 2. And from now on, with the powers conferred on me by the management of the National Universities Commission, we shall recognize the Bayelsa Medical University as the number 48 university owned by the state, and the second public medical university in Nigeria. Second public medical university in Nigeria. And the fourth medical university in Nigeria, because we have two private medical universities, one in Port Harcourt, one in Lagos, and now we have two public medical universities in Nigeria, one in Ondo, and now one in Bayelsa. So I congratulate His Excellency. I congratulate His Excellency for this feat. It is not easy to arrive at the decision when we got the inkling, because we do not want the proliferation of universities for the sake of proliferation. We are aware that some states do ignore and neglect all the universities, only to build more and ignore them. But studying the pedigree of this great man and what he has done with the first state-owned university, the Niger Delta University in Wilberforce Island, and the second university, which is gradually but surely coming up as a serious international university, the University of Africa, we feel that anything he touches becomes gold. We hope that this university will be a pace setter. It is number 4, but we hope it will soon be number 1 in the medical line. So I congratulate Your Excellency. We say, consequent after the receipt of the Bayelsa State Government's letter, reference so and dated 28th January 2019, with which the Bayelsa State Government informed the Commission of the establishment of the Bayelsa Medical University, Yenagoa, and the formal presentation of the strategic documents a few moments ago, including the relevant gazetted law, academic brief, and physical master plan. I write on behalf of the National Universities Commission to inform His Excellency that with effect from Thursday, 31st January 2019, the Bayelsa Medical University Yenagoa has been recognized as the 48th State University and 170th University in Nigeria. We have 170. Our prayers in NUC is that this number will double in the next 2 years. Amen. Because we do not have enough. The current universities, the 169 universities, have a total enrollment of only 2 million people. And we have a population of 200 million in Nigeria. So just about 1% of Nigerians are currently enrolled in universities. If you check, you Google, and see countries with 1/3 of our population, with 500 universities. So we are not. This medical university is never conceived to be a big university like University of Port Harcourt, or like Nsukka, or Ibadan. It will be a small, specialized university. Possibly at its peak, it may have no more than 2,000 students for the next 20, 30, 40 years. But it will now excel and be a world-class university giving world-class education in this specialized area. And this is where NUC is encouraging governments and others to come in to help the cause of education.
On behalf of the government and the good people of the great state of Bayelsa, on behalf of my delegation, I want to thank you, sir. The great work you're doing, serving our country and humanity, but also, in this case, I want to thank you specifically for the expeditious way and manner with which our application and request has been attended to. I want to thank you for the confidence you have expressed in our ability to see through the vision behind the establishment of the Bayelsa Medical University. We promise that, as usual, we are not known for abandoning plans and dreams and programs. No, we are not known for that. In my state, what they call me is talk and do. When I say something, I do it. Prof, when you come around with your team, you will see that the Bayelsa Medical University already has a 400-bed capacity teaching hospital, bigger than most in this country and around the coast of Africa, West Africa. You will see that already we have infrastructure that can take about 1,000 students in campus, hostel accommodation. You will see facilities, accommodation, classroom blocks for the staff and for the faculty. So we are set. This university already has the best diagnostic center already functioning in Nigeria. That was where former President Obasanjo went for medicals last year. It's where we receive all kinds of visitors across our country going for medical examination or diagnosis in Bayelsa. It's located in this university. It's one of the facilities that this university will have, and several other facilities. Our plan is for this university to be one of the renowned medical institutions in the area of public health, dealing with issues such as maternal and infant mortality and producing medical experts of various fields. Prof, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for supporting us in our vision. Thank NUC and all of you for working with us to create a Bayelsa where we have envisioned that our state will be founded on the ability of our people to be big players in the knowledge economy of the future. Our plan for Bayelsa is to be a center of excellence. We want to be #1 in education. Our wealth is not just in the area of oil and gas resources. We want to be #1 in the area of human capacity development. And that's what we want to bequeath the future of our people. So thank you very much for your support and encouragement in this. God bless you.